we're going to take a trip with Paul Hutchins and his Journeys in 3D.
Madeira is an autonomous region of Portugal situated 230 miles west of Morocco off northwest Africa. It has a population of almost 250,000 and is part of the European Union. Its currency is the euro. The island is at the top of a large so-called shield volcano which rises 20,000 feet from the floor of the Atlantic Ocean and is made of rocks considered to be 5 million years old. It was colonised by Portuguese sailors in 1420 and had previously been uninhabited. The mountains in the centre northeast are nearly 6,000 feet high, and the temperate climate, with an average temperature of 67 Fahrenheit or 19 Celsius, makes it ideal for agriculture and year-round tourism. The north and central areas get over 100 inches of rain per year, and yet the south is dry. In the 16th century, the Portuguese started building water channels, or lavadas, to distribute water to the south and provide irrigation for agriculture. These channels were originally dug by hand by convicts and slaves. Madeira has over 1,300 miles of lavadas and 25 miles of tunnels, and they help to bring water to the fields, which have been cleverly cut out of the hillside in the form of terraces. Some water is now also used for hydroelectricity generation. The adjacent access paths make ideal walking routes for locals and tourists due to the very gradual and gentle downward slope, as little as 1 in 100 at places. Visitors are taken by minibus to high points and then led down the lavadas for half or full day walks. The footpaths are unguarded, and although wide and safe, they can often have sheer drops at the edge, sometimes of hundreds of feet. The terraces make the best use of the land for growing crops, and staples include bananas, sugar, and flowers. Some animals such as sheep, goats and poultry are also farmed along the lavadas. The footpaths provide good connections for farmers to carry their produce to their homes or to the market. There is a large central market in the capital city of Funchal, where much home produce is sold. And that's all for now.
Was that another tour you did? And what brought you to Madeira? I gotta know.
Madeira is a good place to visit for British people in the winter because it's quite warm. So you either in January or February either have to go on a skiing holiday or go somewhere really exotic like the Far East or Australia or somewhere.
Now I'm gonna stress you with that.
They were in January.
January, okay.
Late January, early February, I think.
So that's off the coast of Portugal, right?
No, no, it's off the coast of West Africa.
Of course, of West Africa. Yeah. I don't know why did Portugal fall into my head? It doesn't matter.
It belongs to Portugal.
That's why. Okay, I thought I heard that you say that. That's why I got stuck in that. That's why I did so good in school. I got stuck on one word. But anyway, that's right. So now I'll give you one. I'll give you the geography. Latitude. What are you thinking? Where is it located? In latitude.
I don't know.
Good, busted.
But
here's what latitude, schmatitude. The thing is, in the winter, it's warm.
Correct. Yeah.
That's all that matters, really.
Yeah.
Forget all that fancy English stuff.
It's north of the equator, anyway.
But it's not. Yeah. So that's and again, that's what made you pick that. You answered the question already. Well, that's great. Thank you very much for taking us all these wonderful places.
And it's also a popular place for sort of the more senior tourists, because there aren't many not many beaches and riding out clubs, so it's not popular with young people. So it's a nice place to visit if you haven't got or if you've got a young family, or if you just want some peace and quiet.
And hotels and stuff like that, are they?
They're very good. Yeah,
they're very good. Are they commercial ones, like Hyatt and all that stuff?
I don't think there are any sort of international names, but the ones that are there are 5-star hotels.
I'm gonna study this a minute and think if you could think of a caption for that shot. Now we're gonna supply some of the captions, but if you do have images that you would love to have a caption for, send it to info@3dnsa.org and put caption as the title. Caption, here, caption, and put the following weekend's date on, so we know how to put it in and all that kind of fanciness. Here's mine. Ready? Drum roll, please. We got to get a drummer too. That's the next thing I got to deal with. Has anyone else got a good idea? I'm gonna. I can't really see the. Oh yeah, the chat. Okay, I'm gonna look at the chat. Well, we know that now that is a regular bit, and that's like that. Belong. It has definitely been. If I had I used to have good props around here. I gotta work on that. But anyway, thank you, folks, for letting us all have a little look inside how your brains work, because it's a lot of fun. Now, for our last segment, this is going to be a little long. Let's put you to sleep. You can get a coffee during this, but this is lasers at Columbia University. I kind of broke into that before. But what occurred, it was the celebration for the inauguration of the 20th president of Columbia University. And Columbia University, as you're going to hear me, expand upon when you see the video, very interesting place. I mean, it's got great history. It started as King's College, and then apparently the English couldn't pay the tuition. And what happened? I was like 1784 or something. It wasn't in this location at that point, but Columbia University itself, everyone went there from 5 of the founding fathers, and you can go on and on. A lot of Nobel Prize winners, a lot of people. I would say 1% of the folks in there, even now, that huge group of folks, students, 1% of them will change the world. I would say the other 99% will be very annoying to deal with, but that 1% guaranteed. There were a lot of world change. I mean, Manhattan Project, right? The nuclear age started with guys there. Plate tectonics. I go down the list. Not to say that that there aren't amazing colleges around, but New York, has got this weird element about it, and you do feel it when you're on that location. And I'm going to cut to the chase now. I have actually installed years ago. A good friend of mine, Ken Schaefer, who invented the wireless guitar back in the 70s. That's another thing we can chat one day about. But he also got involved in satellite communications about the same time I did. So in the early 80s, he figured out, and I helped him with it along the way. But I'm not going to take any of the accolades away from him. He figured out how to watch Russian TV with a big ass satellite antenna. Right. So I worked on that with him over there. It was a huge antenna. But, knowing the Russians, it was not perfect. This is fine. Anyway, the dish had a wobble in 3 directions because the satellite was bouncing up and down. The Molniya satellites. But that was early 80s, and it was the only way you could see Russian television. It was the first time people in the United States could see Russian television, because the satellite you needed a big antenna because of the pattern. Actually was up to Siberia. So I mean, that was why you could get it. Actually, with the north, you'd have to move. It was a pain in the ass to get it. And unless you spoke Russian, what was the point? But let me tell you something. For a 25 year, I think it was 25 at the time. That was a thrill to me, man, to push that thing around. And there's Russia, the great enemy at that time. And I guess everything changed since then. They become our friends, and then back again. What the hell happened? I don't know. But nonetheless, that's what we did at Columbia. And I've also lectured there on satellite communications and all that stuff. So, but it's an interesting place when you get in there, man. It's got a spirit on its own. And this is the first time lasers were used to do what we're doing. Except, of course, as I said, I'm sure some mischievous students there, which has got to be a couple, probably fired invisible lasers through the joint. But anyway, here's hoping lasers don't end up getting used as much as I think they're going to be used. Let's pray they don't in war, But some of those shots may remind you what it could end up being. So I think I've expanded enough on this subject. It's 10 minutes. The last 3 minutes are the actual event. So that's the funny thing about lasers. Okay, I'll finish with this, I promise, and we'll cut to the tape. Go to the videotape. That was 2 days of setup, plus all the time beforehand, plus everything that, so I would say maybe 200 hours easily of man time and woman time. And it all boiled down to 3 minutes. That's lasers for you, man. You go through a lot. But one thing that never changes, no matter whether it's for people who go to raves, whether it's for rock audiences, or whether it's for a bunch of smarty pantses over at the Columbia University, when you hit the laser, this is what you hear. Wow, And these are quite nice. These, those 100-watt lasers. You'll hear me explain it. Here's one of the entrances to Columbia University at Broadway and 116th Street. It's been here since 1896. There's a pretty impressive list of Nobel Prize winners and mad scientists. The Manhattan Project was worked on here. Albert Einstein gave a lecture on the theory of relativity for the first time in America. Jack Kerouac, Allen Ginsberg, William Burroughs. The theory of plate tectonics, even lasers. In fact, the very fellow Gordon Gould attended Columbia and was the first to use the word laser, light amplification by stimulated emission of radiation. Now, this is the Low Library, but it's actually used for administrative purposes. And today it's going to help us do a laser show. As far as anyone knows, nothing like this has ever been done before, or at least with anyone's permission. There's some digital signage, and the lasers are actually on top of it. You'll get a better view of that in a moment. You see again the digital signage. There are 3 boxes on the top. That's duplicated on the other side. This is a view near the podium to that building in the background, which is Butler Library, and actually is a giant library. And that's where we're going to terminate the lasers a little bit later on. Here's a shot of the podium. And if you look in front of the column all the way to our left of the picture, that platform that comes out, that is where there's another 100-watt laser in that location. Some students are hurrying behind the very alma mater that was installed in 1903. This nice little silhouette. We're facing south, or she's facing south. Alma mater's facing south. This is a shot from where one of the 100-watt lasers is located. And this is from the previous night setup. The camera's sitting actually right on the podium. And the lasers are those lines darting back and forth in the middle. Just these are some random images from that evening. This is from one of the previous pictures showed a white tent in the low right hand corner. This is where the control is. So we are to the west right now. And you can see the three 30-watt lasers. There's two 100-watt lasers next. And way in the distance over there, another series. This is Alma Madrigal in pajamas. This is an evening shot. Lasers are being tested. You can see over in the corner over there. Again, these are more tests. You can see the statue dead center. This is that control booth where everything is, all the operators are standing by right now. There's a couple hours left. That's why everyone's is occupied with their own little thing. We're going to go to some 2D pictures because it was easier to show these, actually to shoot these. Some of them are available if you have a LoomPad 2. If you just look up Johnny Laser or New York Stereoscopic Association, you can see some of these that were shot with a Galaxy S23 phone and spatialized beautifully. Anyway, to explain a little bit of this, when you look at the clouds and the layering here, what you see is a slice of the atmosphere illuminated by the laser in the fog. It's sort of an atmospheric MRI. Those great paisley patterns are fractals. The lasers in the fog allow you to see them. Actually, it's all around you all the time, these same things, but that's the beauty of the randomness of the laser. And again, some of these are on the LoomPad. Some came out really well, but you'll just have to check your LoomPad, and believe me. Also, the theatrical lighting has changed. You can see the LED lighting changing on the library. There's our old friend Alma Mater in the right-hand corner. Oh, there we go. This is the night of the event. And now again, we're facing towards the low library. And this is the kind of stuff that Alma Mater just had to deal with along the way. Wasn't looking that pretty at that point. This would have been 1969. Thereabouts. So it's all come I guess it's come full circle. And we want to congratulate Minouche Shafik, I think that's the way you pronounce that name, and all wish her well. She's got a real task ahead. And we're going to show a little 2D. Okay, this is the beginning through my smartphone. I just want to record a couple of pieces close up. We'll switch over to 3D in a moment. And those of you who are watching side by side, you'll have a nice show. And the cliff, little harder to see, but there we go. Now, just a few details about 100-watt lasers that are being used here. Now, even though 100 watts does not seem like much, a laser pointer is 5 milliwatts. That's 5 millionths of a watt. So if you were dumb enough to look into the aperture directly in front of that laser, you would not have to worry about blinking your eye, because it would burn through the eyelid, through the retina, make short work of any bone, toast a few centimeters of gray matter, while headed for the back of your skull. Not wise to stare into plasma, but at all the distances you see right now, as close as anyone can get, they're completely safe. There are safeguards built in by all of us, and they're very safely run. Kill switches, everything's in position to be sure the audience can have a great show. No problem whatsoever. Thank the folks also at Image Engineering that I work with all the time. Great fellas. And great equipment. Wonderful crew. Well, what you're witnessing actually is had never been done before at Columbia University. The lasers and the things that they worked on in the early 60s and late 50s, could you imagine? They would have. Could you imagine anyone would have thought of this? It would come to this. Amazing, isn't it? Well, you're witnessing history. Thing about lasers, 2 days to set up, hours and hours of programming, and after 3 minutes it's time to pack it all up. But that's what they live for. Okay folks, thank you. And that was just this week. That was, I don't know what you were doing on a Wednesday night, but that's what I was doing. Thank you, folks. Again, I wish you all the best. Brilliant, fun people to be around. The fact that you could tolerate me for an hour and a half is enough. That goes to show you what kind of patience and I must admit I appreciate that. So, from the bottom of my heart, share your joy, count your blessings, and we'll see you next week. And I'll try to get a little of this edited so it's on the air tomorrow and all good. So can we roll credits? But we don't have to. I don't want to make it any harder. Thank you, John. Thank you. Oh, it's okay. We're good. We're good. We'll see you guys. Oh yeah. Thank you. You are so great. You are so great. Thank you. Thank you all. Bye. Bye.